part-time, a short period of identity confusion that every man passed through in their life. You have to ask yourself, where were you? Where were you at that first instance when your children are in that particular place of identity confusion, as known and designed and developed and shown even scientifically by this work of psychologists and all those that are experts in the medical field talking about the human development? In that childhood stage of identity confusion, not knowing whether they are a male or female, not understanding the difference between the organs and all the sexes, and the feelings of wanting to be one sex or the other, or rejection of one's sex in place of the other. Where were you when you're a child at that particular point in time, when it is at that crossroad, looking to be able to cross that bridge? Where were you? Where were you when your child is in need of that love? The kind of love for you to be able to lay down your life for your own child, for your neighbor. How many of the people decided to take away from work in order to make time so that they can be there to provide some emotional support to their children? When you leave your child to be able to roam around in the streets, and in one of my books, and I talked about the evidence and the research that I found about the way some people raise their children, which is different from the way other people raise their own children. When they run around in the streets and when they begin to develop and affiliate and relate to certain things that may be confusing in their life, like the kind of mixed messages that everybody and every child is receiving today in our educational system and in our society, in our TV, in our internet and social medias, and in which case they begin to engage in certain behaviors that you know that are not proper and appropriate for those children. Where were you? And where is the society? Where is the family? Where is the village? Where is the town? Where is the city? Where is the state? And where is the nation and the tribes and the country? Where are you? Where were you? Where is the church for that child that is being molested and that child that is being abused and neglected? Where were you, the society? The Lord asked you. What did you do as a person to your neighbor that you see that is going astray, that is being abused, that is being neglected? Where were you? What did you do in their life? So where is that love? So the focus should be about the lovelessness that existed today in today's world, where people all the time like to focus on themselves and the selfishness of their life. How much of your life have you shared with your own children, with your own flock, with those that the Lord have entrusted into your care? What did you do for them? What did you sacrifice for them? Or is it all about your selfish desires? Is it all about things that you need, the pleasures of your life, that you decide not to be there to support your own child? So it is a message about lovelessness instead of a message of promoting all kinds of things, and begin to look for where to apportion blame and where to do this or do that. That only when and if the world and the society have focused on the love for their neighbor, for one another, the love for the differences, instead of being allowed to be divided by the differences. For some always think that it is about the color of their skin, and those that think that it is about their sex, and those that think it's about their affiliations, those that focus more on one thing, that is the difference between man. You let somebody define who you are, and you let somebody define what you are and what you do and where you should go, rather than being able to look inside yourself. Even by introspection, you can be able to discover more about yourself than anybody can tell you. But it is easy It is better for one when you look at yourself in the mirror, the reflection of what you see you is disgusting to you, and then you want to become something else. And you want to become someone else. You want to be like somebody else. And because this is where the crowd is going, you want to join the crowd. Nobody wants to stand out alone and stand in what they believe in their life. You have to ask yourself whether that is the kind of love that the Lord has called you when He laid out His life and endured all kinds of pain for your sake and for your salvation so that you may be reconciled with Him. What kind of sacrifice did you go and what kind of sacrifice did you do for when in the beginning? And what did you do when you saw the innocence of children are being destroyed? When you see their human dignity being destroyed? When you see things that are happening around them, what did you do? When you hear and you see a certain behavior that you know that is not right and proper for the child, you did not find out why. Where were you when their uncles and their fathers and their mothers and their sisters and their brothers and all these people that abused them and used them and treated them just like and take out to store their innocence and their dignity? Where were you? Where were you when they are being traumatized and being terrorized in their life? You were so busy pursuing one life or the other. You were so busy pursuing one deal or the other. You were so busy working to make enough money for you to enjoy yourself. You were so busy that you were not there to really show the child the love. You were not there to show your neighbor that love. You were not there to really care about their pains and their suffering. You were not there to be able to look into their terror and into the traumas of their life. Then you want to make up all kinds of stories in the depravity of their mind. Those that in their depravity of their mind begin to devour their own brothers and sisters and begin to behave more like a beast in the bestialities of their life. They begin to live a life that is not worthy of one that is created in the image and likeness of God. It is important for you to look into that when we talk about the social justice that must exist in from within every one of you that God has created. For God Himself is just, and God, in seeking to build that relationship with you, gave up His life so that you may have abundance of it. Remember the days of the judgment that is coming ahead of